none of my best writing never feels like it came from me. It feels like it existed outside of me, and I'm just helping to uncover it. And my children exist outside of me, and I'm just helping them uncover themselves. So I write, and I mostly write about womanhood as I experience it, which is something I think is important to clarify, because I want to be part of a conversation. I don't want my convictions to belong to anyone else, because they can't, and I don't want anyone to feel like I'm trying to force them on them. So I think I write because writing haunts me, and it's the only way I can breathe. My best writing has come when I couldn't talk. And so I write when I can't talk, if that makes any sense.
When something's too emotional.
Yeah, it's too emotional, or it just doesn't belong to sounds. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
And so I write. And a lot of things, I got married at 21, and marriage and then motherhood shortly thereafter created a lot of situations and emotions that didn't belong to sound. And so I became a better writer after that. So that's what I do. So I have 2 children. Margaret is 7, going on 35, as oldest often are. And then Viola is 5, and she's kind of my spirit animal. Margaret is who I wanted to grow up to be, and Viola is who I am. And so both those things are good things, I think. And then I'm married to Riley Bingham, and we've been best friends since we were 12, and that has worked to our advantage, I think. I used to think that I would have been a better writer if I had waited to be a mom. There were a couple years there after my oldest was born that I felt like I had given something up, maybe something for something better. Honestly, there's this quote that I'm going to butcher, but it's basically, if you're going to take a man's society from him, his religion, his belief system, his way of life, then you better make sure that you replace it with something of value. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, that quote is what I used to comfort myself. Yeah. I had lost the time or the right to write, yeah. I thought, but I had replaced it with something of value. And then in 2011, I was pregnant with my second daughter, and always with the encouragement of my husband, who was always begging me to write, I started writing where people could see it. But as I started writing online, and my first website was called MC Pie Love, and it was like .blogspot.com with like a million slashes after, and only my dad and Riley and my mom, not even my mom all the time, my mom occasionally read it. I started writing, and what I started writing about was motherhood, because that's where I was. Mm-hmm. And that was meaningful because motherhood introduced a depth I had not had before. It introduced a notion of sacrifice I had not understood before. And it forced me to refine my thoughts because I didn't have time to write for hours a day. And I realized that there are stories everywhere, and that in raising my little girl and the baby that was still inside of me, that maybe that was a story worth telling, and it was my story worth telling. And I don't think I ever would have gotten to that point on my own. I don't think I would have ever given myself permission to write about what was inside of me until I had pushed them out of me. Does that make sense? And so motherhood has clarified me. Marriage did the same thing. And so I am a deeper, better writer because of motherhood. Do you need to be a mother to be a deeper, better writer? Absolutely not. I don't know that I had the grit to become who I am now, though, without the difficulty and beauty of motherhood. I don't think that I naturally had that. Motherhood gives, but it takes and it takes and it takes. And there are many times when being a mother has kept me from being the writer or creator that I wish I could be. It's so complex because the writer and creator I wish I could be is often tied up with the fact that I'm a mother. I mean, I've been gifted that by motherhood, and I'm kept from it by motherhood. We need someone to build with, not someone to build for, and not someone who will build for us. And I think that is important. And I think that applies outside of marriage, but when I was college age, I was thinking about marriage. And so that is radically important. And Sheryl Sandberg wrote about that too. I mean, that's not just like my hippy-dippy Mormon opinion. The other thing I would say is there is no other time in your life, for the most part, no other time, when you can be completely selfish. Whether you're college age and not married, or college age and recently married without babies, you can do exactly what your heart tells you for the most part when it comes to your craft. So you can stay up till 2 a.m. painting. You can take the lower paying job so that you can write. You can take the higher paying job and then write all night. I mean, there's so much flexibility in your life. It's not the only time you're going to be able to create. It's not the only time that matters. Thank goodness, because I would be up a creek if that was true. But it is something that can be exploited for its riches. I please, for the sake of my daughters, please force yourselves upon the world, because maybe the world will be a better place for them by the time they're your age. Oh my goodness, and be kind to one another. Okay, so being a writer has absolutely affected my growth as a mother. I write to process, and I also write as a form of prayer, I think. I am still struggling to understand prayer. Most of the prayers I've had for really huge things, and for prayer for me I no longer ask for things, I seek communion. And I don't know that that's correct or incorrect, it's just what works. Writing is the same thing. When I write, I'm seeking some sort of communion, but I feel like I am a spiritual being, and so I must write. Now that's going to be different for everyone, right? I have a sister who is a spiritual being, and so she must mother. I have a sister who's a spiritual being, and so she must create. I mean, I think you could put anything, like I am a spiritual being, and so I must run every morning at 5 a.m. to collect my thoughts. Everybody has something, the and is different for everyone, but for me it's writing. But there are times when I write where I feel Elysium approach. And so Christ and the gospel and just the love that both represent are generally most apparent in my life when I'm meditating with a pen and paper or over my laptop. Mm-hmm. And so writing is an act of desperation for me because I need to know there's something else. And occasionally through writing I'm given that. So it's seeking something that sometimes I know is there.